Hello again, and welcome to episode 8. I've decided I am going to go ahead and start working on the painting process on this guitar. I've got the fretboard halfway masked up now. I will have to be moving my paint process to another location so that I can do it indoors with some heat going, because I can't paint outside, it's too cold. What I'm going to be doing first is painting the sides, kind of. Actually, I'm going to be using a primer on the whole thing, probably an off-white primer if I can find anything that's specific. Especially along the sides here, I will be masking this area and the sides off so that I don't get paint on those. Basically the point of that is going to be to paint this binding, because it's right now it's too white because it's not as aged as I need it to be. But then once that's finished, I'll go back with some more masking tape and cover up that binding part after that's dry. And then I'll be painting the headstock and the back and sides of the neck and headstock black. I'll be using a satin black for that, over top of the primer. So hopefully that should turn out real nice. After I'm done with that, I will put on my Ibanez logo, which I got, and then be clear coating over top of that. So the front of the headstock is going to be glossy, while the rest of it will be satin. So that'll be pretty nice looking. I'm still working on sanding the body down. Oh, let me get this thing. I have relocated my output jack hole. I still need focus. I've got that in. I still have to fill around it. I'm waiting for the glue to dry. I basically jammed a 1-inch dowel rod in there, cut it off. Then took my Forstner bit back through and chopped that back down. And then took my 1-inch Forstner bit and went in through here. Which, in hindsight, if I had a long enough drill bit, I could have just gone straight through there, and I probably would not have gone through the top of my guitar right there. But, you know, it is what it is. Hello and welcome back. I am now at my undisclosed location. I've got Miss Betty looking over my shoulder here. I got out some old newspapers and put them on this old dresser of mine, and it's pretty funny. This newspaper's from like 1982. Check this shit out. This is an old Kroger ad. Dial-A-Chicken, 20% off. 99-cent chicken breast, white bread, 2 for $89. Wow. Anyway, I am going to start working on painting this neck. First thing I'm going to do is I've got some primer. It's a filler primer that I'm going to be using, since I've got some kind of bare-ish areas on the neck and especially on the back of the headstock. I'm going to use this filler primer to kind of fill in any green that happens to still be open. There shouldn't be really any, because I sanded it down pretty good, and it's pretty darn smooth. So I shouldn't really have to do much with that. And then after this is dry, I'm going to go back along the sides and just kind of spray it with this kind of off-white, almost an almond color, to kind of get that more kind of antique binding color. I'm going to do that on both sides. And then After that's dry, I will take my blue painter's tape, which is pretty low tack, which is what I've used on the front here so it doesn't do anything stupid. Once that's dry enough, I'll take my blue tape and cover up the binding part, and then I'll start painting the black on the back of the neck. Now, as you can see, I've got my stuff covered up so that stuff doesn't get paint on it. It'll go in just a little bit, just enough to overlap the edges, so you won't see any bare wood sticking out. Alright, so let me get this coat of primer down and I'll be right back. Alrighty, I have 2 coats of primer on this thing now. Actually, I probably got like 3 coats worth. I sprayed a light kind of mist coat and saw the areas where the green was still kind of coming through, which was like right in here and a little bit right here and down here where I sanded. And you can see it's actually pretty smooth now, even though I cut that out with the chisel, went down to bare wood to get that contour right. It has filled it in pretty nicely. So what I'm going to do now, yeah, I've got plenty of ventilation and I've got heat because it's a little cool in this house. What I will do now is go ahead and flip this thing over. I'm going to probably mist the top of this because I don't want to spray it thick enough. Because I mean, even though I got this thing taped down and I've got it mashed down pretty good around the frets, that stuff will still leak and get on the fretboard itself. So I'm probably going to give it a real light misting, and then probably another one. I can't even talk tonight. Let me get that taken care of and then I'll be right back. First, let me show you the paint I picked up for this. It's a Duplicolor. I'm using all Duplicolor, I think. But it's a Windsor white. No, Wimbledon white, I'm sorry. But it's the closest to a cream color that I could find. So that's what I'm going to be using to paint my binding, and also the faux binding on the body itself. So I'm going to go ahead and spray that now. Alright, I have completed my Wimbledon white on the sides of the neck to cover up the white binding. This paint dries pretty quickly. Of course, I got the heater right there, so. And I go with light coats. The lighter the coats, the quicker it dries. So it's already dry to the touch, and it's only been about 10 minutes since I put the last coat on there. So I will probably give it about another 10 minutes. Then I'm going to put some of my painter's tape on the binding itself and then start the black paint. I know this probably seems like kind of a backward way to do it, but you know, I like to do stuff a little different every time to see what works better for me. So, alright, that white, Wimbledon white, has had a little bit of a chance to dry. I've got that masked off now with my low-tack painter's tape. And now I'm going to go ahead and spray a few coats of black. The black that I have that I'm going to spray on there is actually a gloss black, but then I'm going to go over the back of it with a satin clear coat once it's dry. And I'll be back. And there she is with 2 coats of black. 2, 3 coats. Whatever. Yeah, that looks nice. This basically just needs to be covered. And got it in front of my heater to help it dry a little bit. It's actually getting pretty warm in here now. I'll have to cut it back a little bit from Gates of Hell. So I'm going to go ahead and peel that binding off or the tape off the binding now. And the next step after that's going to be clear coating it. But I probably won't do that right now. I'm going to let this paint dry for a little while. Probably till tomorrow or something, before I hit that thing with a wet dry sandpaper. Take that sheen off of it a little bit and then hit it with my satin clear coat. And there it is with the tape peeled off. Over on this side, I had a couple little spots where it peeled the paint off. I guess I probably didn't let it sit quite long enough before I put tape on it, but I will go back and fix that by hand, because like I said, I'm going to be repainting the nibs, the fake nibs, by hand anyway, so I'll go back and touch that up as I go. You can see the black's actually still kind of tacky where this masking tape is. So that's just going to sit and dry, and I will come back and begin work on the front of the headstock. I actually have, here, let me pick this up by the safe spot. I got the front of the headstock painted, so I did that first, and then I turned it over and painted it. So I will be back when I get some more work done. And here I am back once again. I have let this thing dry overnight, and it is once again night. So I'm going to be here for a while. I got another one of these on standby. I am going to start sanding down this top coat. I ran into a few snags. I probably mentioned it in the other clip about the some of this faux binding paint coming off. I've got it fairly well taken care of now. I will go back over it by hand later, so it's really not that big a deal. Or I might, just after I get it sanded down, just kind of go back over it again, like tape it and go back over it again. Let it dry some more before I do any clear coating to it. But yeah, hopefully it's thick enough to take a little bit of a sanding. The front of it's going to take a little more work. I got some pretty bad swirling sanding marks on it. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and hit that with some wet and dry 1500, I believe, is the coarsest I have at the moment, besides like maybe some 600, but I don't want to hit it with that. Whoops. Shoot. I would drop my entire life if it was like a possibility. I'm going to hit it with a the 1500. I'm afraid to hit it with a 600 because I don't want to take down any of these edges or anything and have to spray it again. So I'm going to get to it. So it turns out with the 1500, I did take off the edges anyway. So what I did is I went ahead and hit it with that 600, got it nice and smooth. Because as you saw in the other clip, the paint was pretty rough looking. But now, let's see if I can turn this light on. There we go. Now as you can see, there's a little bit of dust has settled on it. Most of it kind of comes off now. I ended up having to completely peel and sand all of that fake binding paint off of it because it just kept pulling off with the tape. So I just grabbed that 600 that I was afraid of and just went over it, took all that paint and primer off of it, taped it up, and then resprayed the black. Also did some more sanding on the front of the headstock and got it painted. Let's see if I can get this thing turned over. Let's see. I don't want to handle it too much yet. So it looks better than it did. So I am going to let this dry again for a while, probably a couple days. Is got a rare occasion where I was off 2 nights in a row during the week, so that's why I'm here at 1:30 in the morning painting things with my heaters and my fan. So I am going to stop for tonight, give that a chance to dry. I have been working on the body today, trying to get it sanded down. I've got everything pretty much ready to primer except for the back of it, which I need to be able to take the neck home so I can put my dowels in, so I can see how far they stick out the holes in the back, so I can fill those in. This thing's been a pain in the butt, but you know what? It's going to be so cool when it's done. It'll be worth it. Stay tuned. I am back in my regular work area with the neck and the body back together again. What I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to punch out these holes. I'm going to take my dowel rods, I'll stick them in those holes, and I'm going to put some glue on the top part of it, the part that's sticking out, and also some glue down in these holes. And I'm going to join the body to the neck. I'm leaving the tape on, and I'm also going to tape up the neck pocket so none of the glue actually gets on the wood in case it squishes out. What's going to happen then is when I pull the body back off of the neck, the dowel rods will be sticking exactly where they need to be. And then I can begin the process of taking my plastic wood and filling in around and over top of those spots, and then I can sand all that flat, and you won't even be able to tell there were holes there, hopefully. I'm also going to take this stuff and I'm going to go over in the areas of the guitar. Once I get this all sanded flat, it'll fill in any areas of the guitar that have holes or dents or anything like that. I'm also going to take my plate, I'm going to cover it in masking tape, and I'm going to put it in here. Then I'm going to use this stuff to go up against the edges of this so it'll be all perfectly smooth, be a perfect fit, and flatten anything out that is dented or chipped off here. I'll also be doing going over all these areas that I've got filled in, just to make sure that everything is completely filled in. And then I will be sanding it down and getting it prepped for its first coat of primer. But that'll be coming up soon. For right now, I'm just going to do this neck. Alright. Hello. Let's see if I can get this thing to sit right. Alright. So the first thing I got to do I went back to the other place this morning after I got off work and picked my neck up and a couple of things and brought back here, because this is all work I can do here, so it doesn't involve painting. So I'm basically just going to cover up this neck pocket, so when I put glue in there, if it squishes out, like I said, it won't get all over the wood, because I don't want to set this thing yet. Alright, go ahead and take my blade. I seem to have misplaced my X-Acto knife, so I'm going to go ahead and cut these out because I don't want to glue any tape up in there either. Grandbaby's here. The boy's obsessed with cars and trucks. Gets it from his daddy. Of course, I've been watching a lot of stuff about cars and trucks lately myself too, but it's mostly restoring and paint work and all that kind of stuff, which has actually been good because I picked up a couple little tips and tricks that I didn't really know about before. Like my little graph job on this piece after I punched through with the drill. That probably wasn't something I would have thought of before. I've seen people do the body work when they cut out a rusted piece and replace it with another, weld another piece in there and then grind it down so it looks like one solid piece of metal. It's kind of cool. I was like, hey, I can do that here. It doesn't matter if that's not perfect. Yeah, I didn't think about when I probably saw these 2 car models on my desk that weren't here before. These were a couple that I built a few years ago. One of them, of course, is a 58 Plymouth Belvedere. It's Christine. And the other one's a Pontiac GTO. I think a 2007 or 6 or 8 or something. It was similar to a Grand Am that I had at the time. It wasn't exact, but it was sort of close. I tried to make it look like it anyway. It actually looks more like my Grand Prix now. Come on now. Get a little impatient. Alright. I'm tired. I just came off a 12-hour shift and I had to drive all the way back to where I had my guitar neck and stuff. And then I had to go back to work and get my COVID test. We have to get that twice a week, and today was the day. So, and then I had to stop by the hardware store and get this plastic wood. Alright, there's that. Oh, let me go ahead and slice these open. If you recall, I got the holes I drilled all the way through with my Forstner bit. Alright, now let's see if these will go in there. Yep. Now I just want to make sure I don't get a bunch of glue down inside of here. Hopefully with this masking tape the way it is, it'll help shield it. Where's the other one? I've got 4. Here's number 4. Where are you, number 4? I'm always losing something. Alright, just get another one. Maybe. That's right, I just had it. I just had all four of them right here. Oh, there it is. It rolled away. Jesus Christ. Put the last one in. I'm a little worried they might not come out even with the glue in since they're that tight. Goodness. Uh-oh. Yeah. I'm about to cut that tape out there. All right. There's going to be one more step than I think there should be. Yeah, that's much better. All right, I can spin them in there now, but very little wiggle room. So what I will do is get my glue. I might use this stuff to style my eyebrows later. I don't know. Now, what I'm going to put some of this on a Q-tip so I have a little more control over how it goes on. I'm just going to put it on the top part of it. Kind of down the sides. I'll be putting more inside the holes. On the guitar. I'm not gonna put any glue on the holes in the neck yet. Like I said, I'm not setting it yet. I'm getting the holes prepared. I'm gonna leave the pegs in the body. This is something else I haven't seen either. I might just make a whole, if this works, I might just make an entire tutorial video on how I turned a bolt-on into a set neck. Just kind of put all these clips together pertaining to this particular process, because I probably won't do it again. But somebody might be interested in giving it a shot or coming up with their own methods for it or whatever. I don't think I'm gonna start a trend or anything, but I see questions that come up in the groups every once in a while, and you know, can I turn my bolt-on into a set neck? And everybody advises against it, but I'm not really so sure any of them have tried it. You know, a lot of people advise someone against something that they haven't even tried themselves. It's like, dude, don't tell me it can't be done if you haven't tried it. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and put the neck in there. Go in there. One more go. There we go. All right, and there it is pressed in. All right, so what I'm going to do then is turn this thing over on its face. If I got that. As flat as I can get it. If I need to later, I can always go in and trim these pegs down, like if the neck won't go in right or whatever. You can always take wood away. Alright, so I've got that in. And there you have it. The body is now dropped down onto the pegs sticking out of the neck. I'll probably come back through here with some wood glue. I will come back here with some wood glue and drop it into the areas around the dowel rods. Then I'll come back tomorrow morning after this is all dry with my plastic wood and fill these holes in and start working on doing my filler work. I'm hoping to, at least some point this weekend, get my first coat of primer on this baby. I'm excited. I still haven't got my pickups yet. Haven't really had the money for it all at once, but I've got another set of pickups I'll probably drop in there for the time being, just to have something in there so I can test everything out. But I will be back tomorrow. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the build so far. It's definitely been a learning experience. In the next video, I will be working on prepping the body for primering and stuff. Then hopefully, if the weather cooperates, I will be getting into starting to primer it. So stay tuned. We're getting closer and closer.